Hello everyone. I've been actually teaching here in Japan, and what you see on the wall behind me is some of the things that I've been talking about that we need to look at throughout this year 2017. Let me put it this way. What kind of warrior are you? Do you worry about the whole world and think that every single thing out there should be in some way a concern of yours? And if you are worrying about the world and everything that's going on in it, have you stopped to ask yourself how much it distracts you from your own inner world and all the things that you could be doing that might in some way improve your lifestyle? Well, 2017 is going to be pushing you to think about that. Or do you worry about your immediate family and think yourself totally responsible for absolutely everything they do? You know, the bottom line is we can help people some of the time, but we can't help them all of the time. And often we have to allow those people around us to go out on their own little merry way and make mistakes, and then once they've made them, they learn the hard way, and you need to trust that actually everything that they're doing will in some way work out. Or do you worry about the future? Where will you be in 5 years? How will you be successful? Will you be doing lots of things you want to do, or will you have procrastinated and told yourself, hey, I can't do those things, they're too far away in the future, so I can't really plan anything, so I'll just sit and bite my nails and worry if my business or my circumstances will improve. So I worry about the future. Okay? What do you worry about now? And think to yourself, I'm trapped and I'm never going to get out of this situation, so I have to make the best of what I've got. Meanwhile, I'll hope, pray that somehow a miracle will happen and I'll be saved. Well, of course, you know, the bottom line is you have to think about, why are you stuck in a rut? Why are you worrying about everything that is going on around you when you know that everything around you is holding you back, stopping you from doing the things that you want to do? It's very important to understand that today is a stepping stone towards tomorrow. And when you get to tomorrow, you'll look back to today and you'll say, well, whatever was going on yesterday, I can't really remember it all. Why? Because something else is happening in tomorrow, which is now the next day, which is your today. Does that make sense? The now of tomorrow is the now of that day, and you have to be in it and live with it and try and do all the things that you think you want to do without letting anyone get in the way. Or maybe you're a person who thinks about the past, constantly in the past, thinking, well, this happened and that happened, and I learned all these things the hard way, and I don't know if the future is going to be any different, so I'm scared to move on. I'm frightened to make changes. I worry about myself in a situation where I might be embarrassed and feel that people will judge me and prevent me from being the real person I want to be. So who are you? Do you really know? Have you ever found out? Or have you simply pushed all those ideas, all those feelings over the year, pushed them deep inside you to worry that you are not accepted, that people are not kind to you or not offering you help and advice? So why don't you stop and think to yourself, how come people walk away? The bottom line is everyone has their own issues, their own problems, and everybody wants in some way a helper, a supporter. But the problem is, if we expect the helper or supporter to do everything for us, to sort out our life for us, to make everything in some way really, shall we say, perfect. Well, that's a bit much to ask anyone to do. And one of the things that I notice here in Japan is so often the women expect the men to save them, and the men expect the women to be there for them, whatever is going on in their life, and sort them out when they come home tired and exhausted. Well, the bottom line is each of us must be responsible for ourselves. We have to take charge of our life. So here we are in 2017, and I'm going to ask you a leading question. Have you given a thought to tomorrow and how you can enjoy it, preparing for the day after that? In other words, can you live in the now, in the moment, and trust that your instinct, your inspiration, your sense of divine essence manifesting can say to you, I know what to do today. And without a shadow of doubt, go out, do it, knowing that whatever you do today will manifest something tomorrow. Well, that might be hard if you're a warrior, especially if you're a world warrior, for example, with all the wars going on and all the fish dying in the ocean from radioactivity and so on and so forth. There's lots of horrible things going on in the world, unfortunately. But it's a year of growth. That's what we're sure of. And the one thing that we can really count on is those far distant planets out there in astrology do affect us, bump us on the head every day. And whether you're an Aries or a Cancer or a Pisces, you're affected right now, because those far distant planets are either opposite or supporting you with some form of change. And that means you're going to go through a growth structure that will, by the end of the year, put you in a better place. Now, those of you who are more sort of distant from those planets, like squares and different terminologies that people use, I don't want to get into astrology too much, but you might find it a bit harder, because squares mean struggle. Right angles, in other words, say planets are opposing one another in terms of down and across. So what's happening? It might be that something's saying, yes, go out and do it, but then another planet is saying, but wait until you know you've got the right person. So between the influences of the different planets, I suggest that you get an astrology reading from someone who's very skilled. I do it, but I prefer to let other astrologers who make it their full-time ability to do that, because it takes time to work out all the things about you. But what you can get, if these people are working for you, is a breakdown, a month-by-month guidance in terms of where the planets are affecting you negatively and positively. Now, another thing that we need to know about this year is we have plenty of eclipses, and we also have plenty of planets in what we call a backward slope, as it were, looking in the sky. They look like they're going backwards. And what that actually is, it gives us a sense of waiting, and we call that retrograde. Now, that means look at your life, make your notes, discover where you want to go and what you want to do some prep work, do some paperwork, print up some flyers or something in preparation for when those planets go straight. Now, when they go straight, that means action. Get out there, be on the ball, do things. So if you're not into astrology, I think it's time you should this year, because this year is a 1 year. Now, the next thing to be aware of is, how can I say it's 1 year when it's 2017? Well, 7 and 1 is 8, and 2 is 10. 0 counts for nothing. And when we have 1 on its own, That's what's left. We have 10. Take away the 0, we have 1. 1 is for all of us, for every single person living on this planet. This is a year of beginning. And a year of beginning doesn't just arrive like, hey, I'm going to start something right away. No, it came from last year, which was a 9-year. And a 9-year was a breaking up, an ending year. And so some people are having new relationships. Some people are ending old relationships. And this year it's about how do you integrate yourself in a relationship, whether it's with family, friends, associates, business colleagues, or just a pen pal in another country. How do you communicate? How do you share yourself with people? It's going to be very important that you are seen as someone who knows what they're doing, who has all their paperwork in order, has paid up all their bills in time, has sorted out their beliefs in what they want to do, is showing go-get energy, in other words, drive and passion. And that's very important, passion, because if we have passion, we are creative. And if we're creative, we invent something. So what are you going to do? Are you going to reinvent yourself? We obviously don't want to reinvent the wheel. So if you're reinventing yourself, how can you change? How can you adapt? Well, one of the first things that I mentioned is stop worrying. Whatever type of warrior you are, it's not doing you any good. And I'm sure you would have seen from 2016, that 9 number, that a lot of the things that you worried about throughout that year either closed out or turned out okay for this year. So how many things in your life, depending on your age, have you worried about? Got yourself in a tiswas, only to find now, all these years later, you can't even remember what it was you were worrying about. So take a lesson from that and understand that worrying about anything is not going to change your insides. It's your brain. You need to change the way you think. And the way you think will change the way you feel. I know, because once upon a time I was a world warrior. I would, being very psychic, pick up everything that was going to happen. For example, one of the last things I picked up was the Malaysian plane going down. The problem was, I was flying to Japan the day before, and I wasn't sure if it was my plane that was going to crash or another one. So I arrived to find it wasn't mine. I was fine. But yes, the next day I found out the plane had gone down. So yes, there are terrible things that happen in this world, but you can't be worrying about whether it's your plane that's going to crash. You just have to take a chance. Go out there and do everything you have to do, just like I did, taking a chance getting on my plane to come to Japan when it crashed. So, what are your plans? Have you outlined them? Have you talked it out with family and friends? Have you protected your ideas? For example, if you've got something new, if you've done a pattern. If you're writing a book, have you got someone to edit it so that you can make sure you've done a good job? This is the time to reach out on the web, on the World Wide Web. Hear that? Stop thinking just up the road. Start thinking about how you can pull all those people out there into your life that you need to talk to and find out more about what is available to you to use throughout this year. There are websites you can find people who will give you their advice for free. There are the other websites that you can pay a little. For example, I'm going to do a promotion here, Fiverr. They will do something for you for just $5. I suppose if you're in another country it might be 5,000 yen or something, but it's still very cheap, isn't it? So if you want some help, reach out and ask someone to help you. There are many people who have lots of skills and they're looking for people to share their skills with. And you may be just the right person for them to share their ability. That brings me to you. What is your ability? What do you have to share? Recognize that your ability, your talents and skills are special. They may not be special to you. You may be saying they're just something I do. Well, I want to turn your new thinking thoughts over to you are special and what you do is special. And everyone out there in the world has something special to offer. So don't think you're without talents and skills. I had a lady who loved to cook. She said, all I do is cook at home. I make cakes and pastries and I cook meals and so on. I love cooking. So I said to her, well, why don't you start a cooking business? Oh no, she said, too much work, too hard work. And I said to her, who said you have to do the cooking? You teach someone and they do the cooking. She said, what an idea. Well, today she has a thriving business and a restaurant. So you don't know where your little idea can lead you. Trust that through this year you may destroy a lot of the things that you thought were good and found out they weren't. But in the breaking of that, you find new ideas emerging, new ways to function. So this is an education year too. Do study. Do talk to people who know more than you. Pick their brains. Ask questions. They will be only too pleased to share because Jupiter is bringing a lot of people together this year. So whether it's abroad or up the road, reach out, talk to people, form organizations, if I can get the word out, form routines, even rituals if it takes it necessary in you to get to do something. Making yourself productive is important. So now I've talked quite a bit about yourself. Recognize that whatever you're doing in yourself, there are other people who are doing the same within their selves, and so they might be busy for a while. Don't see that as a rejection. Just say to yourself, okay, they're not ready for me. I'll put them on my back burner and I'll recall or rewrite later in the year when I feel it's right. Now, the last thing that I want to say to you is please study your psychic senses, because your children and the generations to come are going to be so psychic, and they need parents who can answer questions about why they see, hear, know and feel things that most people don't understand. Developing your psychic ability will intuitively, instinctively help you to make wise choices. Every choice you make, even if it works out to be something that was wrong, is not a failure. It's about teaching yourself when, why, how, and what to do. Once you master your skills and talents and know what you want to do, and when to do it, and where to do it, guess what? You're only going to have success, because there's no sense of failure anymore. You feel confident, you gleam, you bleed, I can't say it, you gleam and sort of bleed almost, as it were, energy of excitement. It's something that people want to see in you and feel in you. And when they feel that, they want to be with you and support you and work with you. And in the same way, you want to be with them because they're beaming and gleaming with joy. See, I got it out that time. So, okay, I hope you will take this video quite seriously in terms of preparing yourself for the future and find someone who can give you a good reading. If you'd like a channeled reading by me of month-by-month breakdown, I can certainly do that for you, because your spirit guides will tell you the best advice that you need to have for each month. I used to do the charts, but it was too long and too boring and so on and so forth. So channeling it's my easy way out. But for you, it could be very accurate and amazingly helpful. If you'd like to have me do that for you, you simply have to write to me, Dr. Margaret, RVC, that's for my initials, Rogers Van Coops, at gmail.com. I'll say it again, Dr. Margaret, MARGARET, RVC at gmail.com. And if you still didn't get it, it's going to be below this video so you can copy it from there. And I will be happy to help you prepare for the rest of this life in terms of this year, because what you do in this year will affect the rest of your life. So be happy, be strong, and be safe, and above all else, enjoy life. Oh, and if you'd like to share this video with anyone or everyone that you know, I would much appreciate that. So be well, be happy, and enjoy life, because life is for living. It's not for worrying and procrastinating and getting stuck in a rut. It's time. Break out of your shell. Be a new you. Be a free you. Bye-bye.